Joining me now is Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton, who also sits on the Armed Services Committee. Senator, you do not agree with that assessment. Why?
I don't, Laura. First, I want to say that I'm very grateful to hear Greg Palkett's report, and Ann and I, on behalf of all Arkansans, continue to send prayers to Benji Hall and his family. I know it's been a very tough week for you and the whole Fox News family. We're very sorry for your losses, for Pierre, the cameraman, and Sasha, the interpreter that were working with Benji, but we're glad to hear he's doing okay. There are just 3 more innocent civilian victims among thousands in Vladimir Putin's brutal war of aggression. I don't agree with Jack Reed's assessment. I do think that President Zelensky and the Ukrainian army has proven that they can take this fight to the Russians. They can close their own skies if we support them with the weapons and the aircraft they need. Now, these mega aircraft are not a silver bullet, Laura. There are no silver bullets in warfare. It is about the total mix of weapons and vehicles and aircrafts you can bring to bear. But Ukraine has these aircraft. They're familiar with flying them. Poland is willing to send them. It was ridiculous for the Secretary of State to say we green-lighted the transfer one day and then 2 days later say that it would be escalatory if the United States transferred them. President Biden, once again, is on the back foot. He needs to be where President Zelensky urged him to be today, which is leading the world in helping Ukraine fight for their own freedom.
Well, Biden can't lead the United States, Senator Cotton, with all due respect. I mean, when I hear President Biden being told you need to lead the world, first of all, with all due respect to, President Zelensky is obviously incredibly heroic. He's fighting for his country as he should. But we have a president who's, as I said in the angle, essentially a hologram. He is not an active president defending our interests here, let alone the president of the world. So, I mean, I think going down that road is kind of ridiculous at this point. Yeah,
what he could do is just stop engaging in half measures that are a day late and dollar short. Last week, Laura, for instance, he came out and gave a very chesty speech about how we were going to ban the import of oil into America from Russia. We're still importing Russian oil. They had a month and a half long wind down period of that. So we're still sending on average more than $20 million a day to Russia's war machine. This goes back for months, so Laura. You have had President Biden, who's continually been a day late and a dollar short, whether he's dragged along by the bravery and the courage that the Ukrainian army has displayed, or by members of Congress, and frankly by members of Congress in both parties in many cases. I mean, just look today, they announced a transfer of $800 million of weapons to Ukraine. That's welcome. Should have been done a month ago or 2 months ago, and it's still just a fraction of what Congress proposed last week. Look, the Ukrainian people and army have proven that they are capable of fighting the Russians. We need to encourage them to do so, and we need to provide them the weapons that they need to fight the Russians.
Now, you don't think we're giving the Ukrainians at this point and the rest of the world false hope? You think given the fact that Russia is closing in on Ukraine at this moment, you heard the air raid sirens outside of Lviv, that we're not building people up to this false hope at this point? I'm worried about that, given the fact that still so many people are in those cities. I'm worried.
Laura, I really don't. One of the reasons you're hearing air raid sirens across Ukraine is that the Russian army has failed in its first plan to encircle these cities and force their capitulation. Kyiv is being hit with missiles and artillery because the Russian army cannot encircle Kyiv. They've been trying to do so for 3 weeks. They are no closer today than they were. So yes, there is still a lot of bloodshed in Ukraine. Russia is still engaged in indiscriminate bombing of civilian areas. That's because they have not been able to achieve their military objectives. And if we provided them not only with MiGs, but with the kind of anti-missile defense systems and anti-aircraft systems that they're pleading for, they could help close their own skies, Laura.
And you think, Senator, at this point, a peace negotiations, which I said in the angle, it seems like you don't hear anybody, not many in the Senate, and certainly not Biden, really indicating that there's much interest in having this stop tonight, like come to an end. The focus is getting the MiGs or getting the missiles or getting more weapons, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. But it looks like they're fairly close to an agreement at this point. Would you be supportive of that?
I would welcome a peace agreement that stops the bloodshed in Ukraine. It's not really for us, though, to negotiate that or certainly to impose it upon the Ukrainian people. That's a choice for them to make,
obviously.
led by President Zelensky. Led by President Zelensky. But I don't think Americans, whether they're in the Congress or whether they're in this administration, should be dictating those terms. But if President Zelensky, representing the Ukrainian people, can reach a peace agreement, he'll need to do so from a position of strength. That's one reason why he needs these weapons that stops the bloodshed and preserves Ukraine's freedom. Then I think that would be a welcome development, not only for Ukraine, but for the world.
Senator, thank you, as always, for coming on. We really appreciate it.